Hi, welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy, and today I'm going to be working inside the Artistly 5 photo editor. And no, we're not going to be talking just about photos. I'm going to be showing you how you can use this fantastic feature of Artistly to actually create multiple um, products or multiple things from like a single image, and how we can break those down, and we can use the photo editor to, like I said, expand our products that we can offer. And so this is going to be a great video if you do clip art, if you do junk journals, especially if you do journals, if you do anything that you need coordinating elements from. And you know how you can create this one image, and then maybe when you're trying to create, the AI just does not give you exactly what, it doesn't exactly give you what you want. It's hard to get, the backgrounds. It's hard to get the images separated. This is going to be a way that you are going to be able to go back into your old images that you have created and look at them with fresh new eyes and see what you can mine, or whatever way you want to call it. You can go and hunt for new treasures within what images you already have, and hopefully it'll just open up a whole new world of possibilities for you. So anyway, let's get started. We're going to jump right in. We're, like I said, using Artistly 5. We're also going to be using Canva for me to demonstrate how to use some of those images. And so let's get started. We're going to click on Create. And right now we're going to be working within the Fast AI Image Designer. We're going to click on that little robot. We are going to go over to where the photo um, editor lives. It is over the third one over on the toolbar, and it's under the AI Design Assistance. Okay, and then the photo editor. Okay, I've worked with this a little bit in some other videos, but not to the extent that we're going to be looking at it and looking at the products we can create using it today. So anyway, what we're going to do first is we're going to cover taking photographs. We are going to start with photographs, taking photographs. And I have been asked, well, can you take a photograph and can you convert it into, say, a watercolor or something like that? So here are some applications for what you can do with this feature. Now, is it going to be 100% working every time? You know, I'm not sure that it's to that level of dependability yet. However, I was able to get some really cool images, and we also have the Human Stylizer now, which also gives us a little bit different look. And we're gonna look at and compare those as well. But you can also do it like that as well. So what I would say is, it's just like any other prompting. If the first attempt does not get you the result that you are looking for inside the photo editor, and I also suggest that you get yourself a like one of these here. Let me just show you. I use a little sticky note here. And let's just go. I'm going to erase this one. Okay. So this is the sticky note program right here. And I can use it to, like, when I find something that really works, I'm going to be pasting that into a document like this. Okay. And when I post these, then I can I can move them into a different file. This is just a handy way to do it quickly. I can copy and paste them into a Canva doc or a Word doc, something like that. But then I can pull it back up when I'm working with Photo Editor, and I've already done that labor and that work to come up with it. It's just like your prompts. When you spend all that time to come up with a really great prompt, You definitely want to save it along with a example image. I have my prompt keeper that is sold in my store. If you don't want to make one of your own, it is Canva based, so it's easy for me to just pop in and add those images and copy and paste those prompts that I don't want to lose. So if you don't want to go all the way through all that trouble, it's not very expensive. So that is available in my store. Or I just encourage you to do something that works for you. The same way with these, they're going to be shorter prompts and directions when you're using the photo editor, but it's going to be important for you to keep a database of these or a running list of these so that you can apply it to different images. Because what happens is if we have to start all the way over with every single prompt and every single product that we do, then we're losing valuable time. We need to be creating our own ecosystem with which we can operate, and that will make us more successful with our time management and with our product creation. And the more things that we can kind of have a plan for already, if we can take, and we already know that we have tested these and they work, then that means we can save a good 30 minutes probably in trying to um, brainstorm those prompts to make it work. Okay, so first, what we're going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to grab an image from my files. And this is actually real life house that belongs to my family, a little family farmhouse that we just got through doing a lot of renovations and adding siding to and stuff. So I want to turn this into a watercolor. So I'm going to leave it the same shape, aspect ratio, and then down here we're just going to simply say turn this image into a beautiful watercolor illustration. Okay, that's pretty simple, right? Okay, so we're going to test it and see. And we just click, and then this is my original photo, the uploaded image. So when it comes up, we'll be able to kind of see how that works. Okay, so rather than sit there and click on that, I'm going to go back into the design assistance and go over here to Human Stylizer so that we can compare the differences. We're going to go back in and we're going to grab that same image here. Okay. And then we're just going to do that same. Okay. And we're going to say, turn this image into a beautiful watercolor illustration. Okay. Because when I was testing, it gave very different looks. So, okay. So here is my illustration now. And I think this is lovely. So how could you use the images like this? Okay, so this would be a service you could probably market to real estate agents. A lot of times they like to give closing gifts. I am a real estate agent slash broker in the state of Georgia. And so this would be something in the past that I have done with other programs that I have actually done for people that were selling houses. I would do them an illustration. Sometimes I would give it to buyers for their new house. Sometimes I would do it for my sellers because they would take this away as kind of a nostalgic thing to remind them of their home that they had gotten rid of. So this is a really neat way to do that. So that is a market for that. Also, another way that you could market these, and these are actually offline marketability products. This is something that you could do one of two things. You could go like into your downtown. You could speak with different businesses, and you could basically take images, pictures of the outside of their business, and then you could either sell them a package with the rights that they could create their own little note cards and different things for their business. Like if they wanted to put their business on a shirt but wanted it a watercolor, then you could do that. And then you could also market it to them where you don't give them the rights to the image, but maybe you make them things like you make them um, if you have the capabilities of printing things out, then you could um, print them some note cards or labels and add their name and stuff like that, phone number and stuff like that. So there's lots of ways to do that. Also, with real estate companies, a lot of times this would be something that would be really cool for them to use, like on the front of a folder or something, like to use with their outgoing materials, like different pamphlets and stuff. That a lot of times they'll have like a folder. And so this would be something also. So look to your local businesses on how you could potentially match and do this. Now, a little bit of extra work, but then you could pick that up with the prices that you do. Like, for instance, if you were going to walk and show examples, you could do a whole example packet. This is what I can do for you. This will be digital, it'll be $49 or something, and I will give you the rights to use these images and all of your marketing, blah, blah, blah. You can do this, and this with them. You can print your own things. You can send it out to a printer, whatever. I'm giving you the rights to use this commercially. But instead of just going to one business, you go to several businesses on the same street in the same day, and then you could potentially, get whatever out of that. Another thing is like for menus and restaurants, a lot of times restaurants would love an illustration of the front of their building, perhaps to go like on their menus or like takeout menus and stuff. So there are so many ways that you could use this. So anyway, so that's how that looks. Now, whoops. Let me refresh that so we can see. Now, this is just a different version. This one is also very pretty. And so this is the style that the Human Stylizer gives you. So, you basically could determine which one. This one is actually a little more artsy, I think. And this one is a little clearer, but both of them are very pretty. And you could even, if you were doing them, you could even do from the stylizer and you could do from the photo editor. And that way that would give them, you know, um, different versatility. They could use both. I really believe that that would be a way to, get you some quick cash, in your town. And let's just think big time. So what if this works, in your town? Then it may be worth it to take it and go into another town and then offer the service too. Now, here's a way around missteps. So let's just say you take a chance and you go ahead and take pictures of these people's fronts of their buildings. Okay, come back, go ahead and do a little bit of the work. It does not take that long to do it, but once you know that it's a pretty, and it's going to be something very marketable to them, and that artistly gives you what you want, then you could actually go to them and then show them in examples. You could set up a whole page on Canva that would show samples of how they could use it, on tumblers, on all these different things. Do a mock up that then you go and show them with their actual image on it. And then that would probably be a much quicker sale. And like I said, if you do a few of them, like go and just spend an hour taking pictures of the whole downtown, and then, all you have to do then is create the images, drag and drop them, and then yes, it's a little upfront time, but you have something to go ahead and sell. You don't have to go back and do it. You've already done it. And chances are, if people see it and that see their image on there, it's going to convert for you into a sale a lot quicker than if you show them someone else's image on all the different things. So dragging and dropping all of those things and setting them up so you have, like a brand set up that you could show them all the different things. So anyway, that's just some ideas on how you can use that feature. And then also now let's go, and I'm just going to go grab, just because I don't want to really use anybody's pet or anything, Pixabay. And as you know, I don't really use this site to get actual images I sell or put in any of my products, because I'm not for sure where they came from or anything like that. So we're just going to take and choose a cute little pet, and then we're going to, this one looks like this would be a good one. So we're going to just download it. I'm just going to download it, and I'm going to do it fairly small since I'm just using it for demonstration. Okay, so now we're going to go back into Artistly and go back to our photo editor. Now, we do have the pet stylizer here, but I'm not using that for this example. I'm just going to use the regular one. We're going to browse and grab that image, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say, we're going to adjust this because the image itself is a different aspect ratio. So we're going to change it, and then we're going to say convert this image into a beautiful watercolor illustration. Now, I'm being very basic. I have my playbooks, and when I'm doing this myself, I can go in and I can actually pick out specific watercolor styles and techniques, and I could apply those. I'm just doing basic watercolor just for illustration and to make this go a little faster for you for reference. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go in now to the Human Stylizer, grab that same image, and basically tell it to do the same thing. And that way we're getting, I'm just kind of showing you. Okay, so convert this image into a beautiful watercolor illustration. Okay, so we're going to stylize that one. Okay, and then we can see how this one did. So there we have the pet, and it's converted it into a watercolor. Now, this watercolor to me is not real. It's almost still a little too realistic. So I'm probably going to go back in. Now, this one is a little bit more watercolorish. Now, this one is very good for that, the stylizer. So the Human Stylizer worked much better on the dog. Look how beautiful that is. Now, somebody would definitely. Now, how can you sell these? Go to your veterinarian office in your town, or there's probably a couple of them. Offer your vets like 10% or some little percentage off, and then not off, but a percentage that you'll either donate to your local animal rescue, or pet or animal whatever, the people that really work with the animals, and like your shelter, um, offer to donate a portion in the name of the veterinarian. If they let you put a little sign that you could fix up, you could do just like a little tent card or something that gives a sample of the pet image here, and showing from this to this kind of thing, and how you can take and convert their pet into a watercolor for them. And then also, you could also show them how that if you give them this image, they can then convert it into, you would give them the rights to then, for personal use, create, they could create pillows. You could show samples of all the different things they can use that image for, besides it just being like a watercolor portrait for their wall or whatever. So depends on your creativity, and the sky's the limit as to how you could frame that. But that would be a great place. Or the vet could have a choice. You could give him 10% of the whatever orders come in or whatever. But if they would just let you do that, first you can ask, hey, maybe you don't want to share that amount, but you can say, hey, I'm doing these. Do you mind if I leave this? Or if you want to leave like a business card that showed the before and after or something, you could even do something like that so that people could pick it up and then contact you if they were interested. So look for places like that you could market and advertise it. You could also market it on social media, like on your, they have a lot of times they have these yard sale sites and stuff. That would be really cool. Hey, I'm doing these pet portraits. I'm digitally creating these watercolors for you. It's this price, blah, 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 direct them wherever you want. Then you can direct them to Etsy. If you want to use them as a payment processor, you can do it without ever seeing them. It just depends. So these are some offline and online ways that you can use this. So this is just really pretty. I would go with the Stylizer for animals instead of the photo editor, because I believe that this one for that purpose worked really well. And like I said, the Stylizer, is given a little bit more artsy look. So it just depends on the look that you're looking for. Okay, so now let's go back in and let's do another. We're going to go back to Pixabay, and we're going to do little girl. And I'm not using anybody that I know who their child is or whatever. But let's just pick out a little girl, and let's pick out one that would be really pretty. I kind of like this one. It doesn't really show the little girl's face, but if I were a parent, this would be something that I think would be really pretty to sort of immortalize. So I'm just going to go straight to the Stylizer, because I really think that is going to treat the I believe that's going to treat the subject the best and give you the best results. And so we're going to go back into Human Stylizer, browse and grab that image. And then we're going to tell it to do the same thing. Now remember, you have to choose your aspect ratio. Okay, so convert this image into a beautiful watercolor illustration. And we're going to stylize it. Okay. Now, let's think outside the box. You have a lot of men that actually love their classic cars. They have classic cars. And so think outside the box. So these men would probably really love to have like an illustration that they could, send it out, blow it up, and put it in all of their man caves and stuff like that. So that is an entirely different niche that you could hit. And we're going to do one of those too in just a sec. Okay. So there we go. Isn't that beautiful? You've got the little girl. Okay. So we're going to also do it, just for comparison, we're going to do it with the photo editor now and grab the same image and choose the aspect ratio that we want, and convert this image into a beautiful watercolor illustrate. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do another thing because, watercolor is beautiful, but we're going to go back in to the Human Stylizer. We're going to grab this image again. This time we're going to ask for an oil painting. So convert this image into a beautiful oil painting. Okay, so, all right. So this is actually the one that came from the photo editor. So you get a little bit more color here. So that would kind of be up to you. Now, so I have another idea as far as like this image goes. Let me just refresh and see if that one's ready. Yeah, it is. Okay. So this one is Human Stylizer, and it has converted this into now an oil painting. So you've got all this little detail. Now this is gorgeous. Can you just imagine your grandchildren and how beautiful it would be to convert them into kind of more like an oil painting as well? You get a little bit more detail with the water and whereas the watercolor is a little bit more impressionistic. It's giving you the watercolor is a little bit more subtle, where this is more detailed. So whatever art style that you wanted to do, you can do that. Now let's just say we want to use the stylizer, and we're going to use that same image, and let's just say we want to turn it into okay, so convert this image into a chalk drawing with lots of detail. Because watercolor, we tend to think that watercolor is like the only the only style out there because it is so popular for clip art and things. But when we're actually getting into the more artistic things, then okay, so here we now have a chalk drawing. Also very cool. But now let's see what it would do if we said pastels or colored chalk. I was not really specific about that. So now, whoops, let's go into the Human Stylizer, back to that same image. Okay. Oh, what did I do? Okay. Hit the wrong thing. Now we want to convert this image children's book illustration using colored pencils. Let's just do colored pencils for a beautiful hand drawn effect. Now, while we're talking, let's talk about subjects. Okay, so you could take your camera out into your yard and look, that's beautiful. Very pretty. So, very, very, very pretty. And we have that storybook illustration kind of thing. So how cool is that, that we can basically take this photograph and we can render it in all of these different ways, and all of these different ways would have different applications. You know, you have grandparents that may, and parents that would like to immortalize their children in these very upscale ways. But so there are going to be other ways that you can use these tools. Um, so like I said, you can take your picture out, you can take a picture of different objects, you could come back in and you could turn them into note cards, into all kinds of things, just using these different techniques. My playbooks would be amazing to pair with this. Basically, the first playbook is like over 400 pages, and it goes through all these different art styles. And so you can use those art styles and those prompting phrases and everything to apply to these images as well. So let's go in and let's look at it. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Had to take a little brief break there. And now we're in the Human Stylizer. And what we're going to do is we're going to paste from my playbook that we want it to convert to a beautiful acrylic painting using impasto texture thick raised acrylic, not garlic strokes. And then we're going to stylize. And basically, I'm using my AI Artist Playbook, and this is volume 1. This is the first book that I did. It's over 400 pages, and it has lots of really cool things that we can use. Okay, wow. So we can see here the difference here between these two. Look how pretty that is. See all the detail with the thick. Okay, let's see what else we can do. All right. So we're back in here. We're going to go back to the Human Stylizer. We're going to browse for that same image. We're going to go ahead and make sure the aspect ratio is proper. And then we're going to go over to the playbook, and we're going to just explore some different things. Let's go back to page 3, the contents, and let's say we want to make it pop art. So then we can a pop art style portrait. Okay, we're going to take this and we're going to convert this image into a pop art style portrait, color blocks, and see what we get. Okay, so that did not work. That was a big, huge fail. So we're going to remove this design, remove it. Okay. It's all in the wording. So let's go back to Human Stylizer. Go back to our image. Okay. Okay, so we're going to say, turn this image into a pop art style, not portrait, but illustration. Maintain the look of the image. Just use this as the basis for the technique applied. And that's just me being crazy. But Okay. There we go. Okay. So it's all in the wording, and you just want to make sure that you have it worded properly. I did not have it worded properly. So let's go back in and let's see what else we can do. So let's go to back to the table of contents. I want to try something with you. Okay, so we're going to go down to the vintage and retro illustrations. And we're going to look for this. We're going to try to turn it into a poster. So we're going to just grab this, copy, and then we're going to go back in to the Stylizer, grab our image again, and then aspect ratio. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paste this, and then I'm going to add to it. Okay, so, turn this image into a 1920s Art Nouveau travel poster featuring elegant curving line work, rich muted pastels, and soft finished textures. Keep the image itself the same and use it to create the poster. Okay, so we're going to try to turn it into a travel poster. I hope you're seeing the possibilities of what you can do with this program. Oh my gosh, y'all, is that not fabulous? Oh my goodness. Now, we would work with, I don't even know, that may actually be a French or some other language. I don't know what it is, but we could put whatever we wanted to there. We could put St. Simon's or whatever. That is fabulous. Can you just imagine what you could do there with that? Being able to do that. Oh my goodness, that is just wonderful. And all of that from this Pixabay image that we got, but just think about what you can do with that. Okay, so I got way carried away with this segment of the whole video. So now we're going to go into our sort of part 2 of the video. And we are going to now go into how we can take and convert images and use them for different applications. This is where we're going to get into the fun for junk journals, clip art, all sorts of goodies. So, okay, so now we're going to get started with that. And again, I'm going to be using images that I used my playbooks to create these prompts originally. So just so you know, that's kind of where those came from. And we are going to now go back into the design assistance. We're going to go into the photo editor, and we're going to we're going to go into our library, and we are going to go into let's just see, down here to my video folder. And I'm going to show you some really cool things. Okay, so we're going to go into this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can start junk journal. We're going to start with the junk journal first as an illustration. Okay, so I have all these really pretty, excuse me, all of these really pretty different images, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so when you're doing junk journaling, a lot of times you get these patterns and these things, and we can always remove backgrounds, but it erases the background. So it's very hard that we could actually get to keep the background and maybe we don't want that image on it again. Maybe we think that background would be really pretty to do other junk journals, other different things. So mainly probably with junk journals for this application. Wall art, invitations are also a really great application for this, is if you can use the background that you've created that you really, really like, but then you don't want that illustration on it anymore. So we're basically backtracking. Instead of starting with a background and then adding the elements, we're going to be separating the elements from the background. And then we can see exactly, how we want to do that. Okay, so let's just take this one as an example. Okay, so we have tags and they're in a square here. So let's just say we want to take this image, but we want to remove the image of the flowers and leaves from it. So let's just take this and we're going to try it. And we're going to tell it to remove the florals and leaves and leave the background on each of the tags. Okay. So I haven't done it with tags, so this is me being very transparent, showing you my process. I have tested it with other things. Okay, so while that's doing that, we're going to go back into the photo editor, go back into my junk journal folder, and look at some more applications. Okay, so let's say we want to use, let's find another pretty one. Let's say we want to use this one. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure whether it's going to think these are florals or what it's going to think it is. So we're going to say remove all the florals and the leaves. And that may be considered a bird, so, and birds, I don't know. Leave the background. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get that one going. Okay, look how amazing that is. So now we have this lovely set of tags that have the beautiful background that can also be used with that same, you could use them as is, but then you could go back and add different elements to these tags. So, or you could just include this as part of your pack that you're selling to give people a base that then they could build off of. So there you've created, like, you've got the ones with the print on them, you've got the ones without the print. Now, let me show you another really cool trick. Okay, so we're going to take these, we're going to go, let's do this first. Okay, so here's our background that we just removed from, took all the florals off, and now we have this really cool background that we can use. Okay, so there's that one. Going to go back in. We're going to go back into the photo editor. We're going to go into our library, and this time we're going to choose this one with the blank ones. Now, all right, so change the color palette used in this image to, and let's just go back into the playbook and let's find some color references. Let's see, prompts, color, color. Okay, so let's go and change it to a sepia toned shading. Okay. And then, this is just going to open up a whole world of more possibilities. Now, can you do this in Canva? I mean, you could change the color in Canva. I'm just using this as an example that if you want a really specific color scheme, those are gorgeous, gorgeous and grungy, and you could do so much with them. If you could also let's just play with this and see how far we can go. Let's see if we can isolate this now. We've got these lovely tags, but let's just say we just want one tag. Let's see if we can do that with the photo editor without having to break up these tags manually. Okay, so we're going to go into the library. We're going to choose these. And we're going to say remove all of the tags except one. So this photo editor, I'm sure the developers never even imagined how versatile this could be and what a wonderful tool it could be to us who are in this product creation business. But it is a wonderful tool that we can use and be super creative and get outputs that the majority of everyone else is not doing. Okay, so that phrasing did not work. So that does not mean that it won't work. So we're going to go back in here and we're going to try it again. So we're going to go into the photo editor again. We're going to go here, choose this. Okay, turn this image into a single tag image. Delete the other tags. Okay. Now we're going to go in. We're going to select it again. And we are going to tell it to change the colors to baby blue. It did what we wanted it to. It's just all in the prompting. Now look at this wonderful tag we have here. How very, very, very cool is that? Very cool. So now we have isolated and we have that single tag that we can play with. And now we've changed them all into blue, a really pretty blue. So this is really cool for like when you really want to work with color, because in Canva, yes, you can change colors, but you're very limited as to the color schemes that you can do. But see here, we've created one basic element here, one basic tag. But if we want that tag and we want it, turn it into, it's a perfect grunge, we want to turn it into these other things, what we can do is see if we save this. We know this works now. We should, in theory, be able to go back in here and choose this tag here. And, we could apply the color, or we can choose here. And then hang on. Whoops. Choose from the library. Let's choose this one. Okay. We're keeping that. And then we're going to paste in. This is where keeping those that work comes in handy. So in theory, this should give us the single tag just like, but in this color. And I know that all of you really super smart creators are going to come up with so many ways to make this even work faster and create your own amazing elements and Real excited about that. Okay, so let's go back in. Let's go to photo editor again. We're going to go into here. We're going to go into the folders and go to my junk journals. Okay, so now let's do this. Let's say we want this element here, but we don't want the background. So we could just simply delete the background off. Okay, so I'm going to be a little crazy and I'm going to tell it to do something else now because I'm visually looking at this, and I'm going to say change this image and use the floral to create a border that goes all the way around the background. And that's a very weird prompt. I'm not sure what we're going to get with that. Okay, so this one actually did not turn it into the same tag that second time. So I would have to tweak that. It should have, in theory, worked. It may have been because I was not going back to that original one and it could have gotten confused. So I would probably try it again just to see if it was kind of a fluke. Okay, let's just paste it back in. Turn this image into a single tag, just like these. Like the ones in this image, but delete the other tags. Okay, not sure, but we're gonna. Okay, let's see what our weird one did. It's having to think a little bit on that one. I gave it more of a prompting command. Look at that. So it took the images and it recreated it to make a really pretty border around it. So that's a success, I think. We could do all sorts of things. Let's take this image now. Let's go back in. Let's choose it. And then let's be really creative and say, turn the border of this image into a hand painted border that is colorful. Okay, I'm getting way out there, but that's just what creativity is all about. That is what using these tools is all about. I want you to think outside of the box. I want you to be creative, dig deep within, and use Artistly as that tool to help you get your imagination and your personal creativity out there so that the world can pay you for it and appreciate you for your own beautiful art. And this is where we bridge the gap between just being people that use AI and actually becoming what I consider an AI artist. An AI artist is going to keep on working at things until now. This is really pretty and I could use this, but it's still not giving us that tag. So I'm not going to spend any more time on that. You can see what the possibilities are. I think it's probably with trying to use that same one again over and over again. AI sometimes picks up on certain cues, and I believe it's in an attempt to give us consistency, but sometimes we want consistency, like when we're doing characters, we want that consistency, but sometimes when we're doing separate art things, that's not what we want it to do. Okay, look at how cool that is. It literally, you can see that it colorized this image. Exactly, it's the same image, but it colorized it, and now it has an entirely different marketability. So, and we could also have taken this one and we could have selected for the shape to be different, like for it to be the aspect ratio to be more portrait oriented, and we would have gotten like a really pretty folky pattern here. So the photo editor is so much more than a photo editor. Now, so it's much easier to remove the background and just use the actual images. So I'm not going to really cover that as much as what you can do if you can isolate and cover those, do those backgrounds. And this is a little bit shorter. So let's go back in. Let's go to the junk journals folder again, and then let me go in and let's just look at some of my other things that I've done so I can show you more applications. I showed you how you could remove, and then so you would be able to use that background with a lot of different things. Let's try something, and I'm not sure how this is going to do. Okay, so we have this element. We're going to leave it this size, and we're going to say add these text one per label in a script font. Okay. In black. Okay. So we're going to do love, hugs, joy, and we have 6 of them, so we need 3 more. Faith, prayer, and happy. Okay. I'm not sure it's going to do it, but let's just see if it will. Y'all know that I love to push the limits. I think I'll try to go back and while that one is working. And this is where you get your workflow is don't sit there and wait on anything. Move on to something else. Okay, so we're going to go back to, let's go back to these, which were kind of the original ones. We're going to leave it like that. And then we're going to tell it to isolate one of the tags and delete the others. Change the color to baby blue. And let's just see. I went all the way back and oh goodness. Okay, so let's see. Prayer, love, hugs, faith, prayer. It didn't do joy. And it didn't do, let's see, was it joy that was the only one it didn't do? Yes, joy. For some reason, joy did not come out. But hey, that is successful. How cool is that? Now you have all of these fussy cuts that were just done. It spelled them perfectly to do it like that. I'm not sure if we could okay, there we did it. Okay. So now we finally got it. So we isolated one of the tags by going back to that original. Again, we're troubleshooting here, I guess. By going back to that original first one to ask for this, it did what it needed to and not from the rendition. So let's go back to use that same concept. I'm going to take this though, and I'm going to actually copy this so that I don't have to come up with it again. We're going to go back into the design assistance photo, blah, 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 blah. We're going to go back into these. I'm going to have to go back into my junk journal. And then back down here, go find those. We could use that first one, but I think I'd rather go back to the plain one. And this would be easy. If you didn't want to do this, you could just download that image and then upload it so that you're not having to sort back through all your stuff. Okay, so we've got it now. Let's see if we could change the color. We're going to paste this in. And then change the color to baby blue. Then add these text, one per label. I really like those. How cute are those for a fussy cut? Now, I'm not sure how much detail you could go into, how much control over the text. I'm giving you the tool and the direction, and I would love to see what you are creating. Be sure and join my Facebook group so you can share all your great designs. And this is so very cool. I am so excited. So go back to your original one to do it. We changed the color. We did this. Let's just go one more step before I leave you guys. Let me go one more step. Okay. We're going to go back in here to Photo Editor. We're going to choose from our library again. We are going to go to the junk journal folder, scroll down and get that same here. Okay, these fussy cut little labels. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to paste this in here. Okay, so change the color to sage green. Then add these text, one per label. Da, 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 da. Add a beautiful floral embellishment around the text. All right. I am really pushing Artistly today, but let's just see. I probably should have done per label, each label. It may do something really weird, but that's okay. That's okay. We're experimenting. And we have already made this one feature. Well, actually, the two features: the Human Stylizer and the Photo Editor. We have done so many cool things with it. And let's go back in here while that's doing that. Let's go in here, and I am going to go to folders. Let's go all the way down to that's not the one I wanted to go to. Remove backgrounds and all. Product art, watercolor art. Meditation kids. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these little meditation kids, and we're going to remove the girl. But what we're also going to do is we're going to tell it now to fill in the flowers at the bottom to make a bottom border. Okay, so let's just say we've created elements and we're doing a clip art pack, and we want to add those matching, it's got the same colors. We want to match this and have something to work with, or we like these flowers and we just want to create, maybe we're doing a pack of borders or backgrounds for invitation sellers or whatever they're going to use them for. So we can use this tool then to, oh, look how pretty they are. Love, hugs, joy, faith, prayer, and happy. Y'all, this is such a cool tool. And I can see y'all just using this, and I know that your brains are just like, the light bulbs are going off, and you're going, oh, I can use this. I can do this. Okay, and here we go. We have filled in the blank spaces. You can be more specific how you want it to fill in, but here now we have isolated. We have the same color scheme, but we have a really pretty bottom border. We could take this now. We could go back in, go to the photo editor, go back to this image, and we could change the colors. Change the colors to pale pink. But I love this. This is so very cool. And then you could use my playbook. You could be more specific with your prompting and just try not to overwhelm it too much. But you could definitely use this to separate. I mean, like for instance, there are some really, let's see if it's done. Okay, so let's go in again, and I have something else that I think would be really awesome. Um, let's go back to the junk journal. Okay, so I'm not even sure if those tags are even under the junk journal ones. I think it may be under my a video. Let's see, JJ. Let's see, video, images. Junk journal, playbook training. Okay, let's go with this. Okay, so you see where we've got all kinds of little things like this. So, and sometimes you just can't get, let me just scroll through and find something. It's not those. Papers and backgrounds. Oh, tags and labels. Okay, that's where it's at. Tags. Okay. All right, so we have all these tags like this. We've got some that are multiples like that. These aren't the ones I wanted. Let's go back in. There we go. Tags and labels. There we go. That's exactly what the one I wanted. So let's just take these like this, and let's see if we can isolate it. Okay. So delete all but one label. Okay, so really what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to isolate that, one of the pretty labels. Okay, so we told it to do pink, and it went in and it gave us sort of a pale pink cast. Now we could have said replace all flowers with pink. We could have been a little bit more specific in what we wanted. We could have told it to do like the other one where we kept the type of flowers but added them to a vine, or kind of whatever we wanted to do. Okay, so that did not work that time. I've got to go back in and see how we can isolate. So let's see what kind of wording we can use to do this. Okay, so remove all. labels except for the top one. Then remove the background, and we'll just see what it does. Because often we come up with all these, these odd shapes, and maybe it's not really, you see how close they are, so that they are not really allowing us to get real close for us to fussy cut. I mean, you could sell these as fussy cuts, but this will be a way that you could go back in. Okay, well, it actually gave us two. Okay, and it tried to remove the background, which actually kind of messed up the thing, but we're going to leave that kind of right there because I still believe I can make it work. I believe there's something else I want to try first. Okay, so let's try this like this. Okay, use this image as a stylistic sample to create a new single label. The floral on the label should surround this text in a script black font. Hope. Okay, now that's a real complicated thing for it to do, but we're going to see. Like I said, you know that I like to push the limits. That is pretty cool, you gotta say. It did take those florals and then it wrote hope. That's really a cool thing. I hope you've enjoyed this video and me showing you how to think outside of the box, how to create from photos, how to use my playbooks to enhance your photo editor, how to go back through all of your old folders and grab images that you can take and separate the backgrounds from, how you can incorporate those into junk journals, into clip art, into backgrounds, into so many different elements, how you can create new things just by editing, how you can work with adding the text, these labels and things for fussy cuts when you've created all of these. We did that in a workshop. And we created these beautiful images, and the text is difficult sometimes to get it right, but if you're going to sell that fussy cut multiple times over and over again until the end of time, then it would be worth it to go in whichever way you could add those elements in. That is probably still less time than it would have taken me to take that into Canva and to have applied those elements to. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you will check out my playbooks on Etsy and Gumroad. If you're in the EU, you'll need to buy them through Gumroad. I do have a current code right now. I'm not sure when you're watching this if it'll be available, but right now you can try it. It's summer 50. You can get 50% off of any of my playbooks. And if you're in the EU, this is just the only avenue for me to sell to you, unfortunately. Wish I had more choices for you, but at least I have one. On Etsy, the discounts have already been applied if the sale is current. And right now, as of the taping of this, that 50% off still applies to those playbooks as well. And let's see, what else do I need to tell you? Oh, if you don't have Artistly, you really need to get Artistly. Check my link, my affiliate link down there. They're currently running a 10% off. And there's a code. When you click on it and go to read about it, up at the top, there's going to be a code that um, you can input and get that 10% off. And let's see. Be sure and subscribe to the channel. Be sure and like the video and comment with your thoughts. Love hearing from you. Be sure and join my Facebook group. It's free and extra support. Also, be sure and sign up for my weekly newsletter. That's also free and great support for helping you sell the products that you make and helping you create them. And I guess until next time, happy creating.